Thank you. I'm going to support the BC Liberals until I die because, quite frankly, there's only one political party that will defend my rights as a young person to social media privacy, and that's the BC Liberals versus the NDP that demands passwords.
Elizabeth Denham, BC's Privacy and Information Commissioner, joins us on the line today from Washington, D.C., where she's on a trip. Elizabeth Denham, thanks so much for making some time for us in your schedule.
Very pleased to be here.
So how closely have you been following this issue with Nicholas Simon's social media and the NDP?
Yes, I've been following it with interest, and I'm very pleased that Mr. Simon and the NDP have reached an agreement and that he isn't required to turn over his social media credentials. But we will be continuing with our investigation.
Now, is that because there were other candidates who were forced to hand over their passwords?
That's correct, and also I think this is a great opportunity to look closely at the practice. I think it has broader implications beyond the NDP party, and it's a teachable moment for other organizations that are subject to the privacy law.
Now, what sort of potential ramifications may come out of this? Privacy laws, are they criminal code offenses or are they a separate statute? How does it work?
No, there are no criminal penalties, but my office, for example, I have the ability to issue an order that's legal and binding on an organization. So I could, at the end of the day, issue an order that the NDP cease this practice or that they change their practice, and that order is legal and binding just like a court order. Elizabeth
Denham, British Columbia's Privacy and Information Commissioner, you heard it here. She is continuing her investigation into this policy regarding social media passwords in the BCNDP that we've been following. Elizabeth Denham, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Any final thoughts?
No, thank you. It was a pleasure.
I think Christy Clark is simply the best. She's invested in hydrogen fuel. She research, which will take us to the next great leap forward.
We currently don't have our own hydrogen production facility. Hydrogen has to come from outside British Columbia, and we need to bridge that gap. So I'm pleased to tell you today that we will contribute to another world first for British Columbia, $870,000 to help construct the world's first small-scale facility to purify and liquefy byproduct hydrogen right here at home in British Columbia. It will take byproduct hydrogen to produce low carbon liquefied hydrogen to power hydrogen fuel cell buses and vehicles throughout the great Pacific Northwest, the great rainy Pacific Northwest. About 1,200 kilograms per day of made in BC green hydrogen, enough to fuel a fleet of over 1,500 passenger fuel cell vehicles or 50 transit buses. And it should be producing in about a year and a half. I want British Columbia to remain the leader in green economy in the world. And I promise you this, our government will do our part to make it possible for you to be able to create and innovate. I always say, you know, the thing is, we know what the past looks like because we've been there before. The great thing about the future is we don't know what it looks like yet because we haven't made it. And everyone in this room will be helping to make that future. Thank you so much for your contribution to British Columbia. I'm delighted to join you here today. Thank you very much.
I think Premier Christy Clark also stooped to the bullies, and I could go on and on and on.
Well, please don't. All I wanted was a short comment.
You're simply the best.